Good morning. Welcome to another episode of We Are the South Stand. Happy Friday. It is myself, Daps, with the specs.
Brilliant.
And my good friend Martin with the specs as well, actually. What are you saying? You good?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. And it's Alan, not Martin.
Do you know what? If this was a pre-record, I'd go back and do it again.
Yeah, I know.
I can't.
It's not. But there's a mistake. Don't worry. Don't worry.
All right, so there's a good talking point. People, who do we prefer, Martin or Alan?
Yeah.
And I'm waiting. The reason why I've asked is because I'm waiting to see how long it takes for Martin to show his face and say something.
I know.
Where's that behind you, by the way?
Hey?
Where's that behind you?
That is Melbourne.
Right, okay. You need to change that for a picture of from Melbourne to Mostyn.
Yeah, I know. Of the Etihad. I've got that in my office, mate. I've got pictures like you have of all city memorabilia. So, yeah. Well, I've got a friend who's watching the TV upstairs because I'm a townhouse and I'm on the bottom floor.
So we don't get to see your beautiful staircase.
Yeah, so we just he's watching the TV and it's on loud, so I've come down here out of the way. But my mate's staying on. He's from Manchester and he's a massive blue as well, which is a massive advantage.
Yep.
So
we haven't spoke for a while. I mean, hold tight, everyone in the comments. City Luke, people, please make sure, as Luke says, everyone has a good day. And of course, please make sure that you are smashing that like button. We are going to talk on the subjects that I've put in the thumbnail, which are, I'm going to be doing this most mornings. I'm looking, so just so people think, where's this news coming from? When I wake up round about 6:37 in the morning, I am going onto Football News Now, right? I'm sure most of you know it. It's been around for donkey's years, right? Football News Now. And I go through all the links with Manchester City. And this morning, the links I saw were Morgan Gibbs-White, as normal. Lunin, who is the Real Madrid second choice goalkeeper, Ukrainian.
Okay.
And the third one was Rodrygo. Jarvis, you're saying check City Extra. Well, Football News Now has more than City Extra. So City Extra, hold tight, City Extra, great channel, but City Extra will be getting their stuff off of Football News Now and other places. You're saying there's news on Cambiasso. Well, we can talk on that. You've got to remember, this is 7 o'clock in the morning when I checked, and I went through it all. These were the three links. There was nothing new on Cambiasso there. So saying Cambiasso one's legit, I will have a look shortly. This is 7 o'clock in the morning when I started it. But before we get into all of the transfer talk, we haven't caught up for a while. So I just wanted to run by you, Martin. Alan. I'm awful with... This is one thing when you're helping me with my CV, right? I'm awful with names.
Right, okay. You're a bit like Bobby Robson. He was the same, wasn't he? He could never remember players' names.
My memory's really... I've got a weird memory. My memory's really, really bad. Anyway, there we go.
He's there. He's there. Go on, Martin.
I got him. I knew he'd be here. I knew he would be here. So we're going to get into transfer talk, but I just want your take on the Crystal Palace game.
I thought we played all right, especially second half, right?
Yeah.
I thought first half, first 20 minutes, we didn't play that badly and we found ourselves 2-0 down. We got caught a few times off them because they've got quick forwards, which they have. We got caught. When we were 2-0 down, it wasn't as if we were so open. I thought, what are you doing? But I will say this. If that third goal would have counted for them and didn't get disallowed, we'd have probably lost that.
Yeah, 100%.
It changed the game completely.
Yeah.
And then second half, it's probably the best game I've seen KDB play all season.
I would 100% agree with you on that.
He looked fit, which apparently he wasn't. He wasn't got any pain. But we've got to realise that the club have made a decision for the long term, not the short term, which I agree with, which I totally agree with. There's no point keeping somebody on massive money if the moment they play one good game and they get injured, because that's liable to happen with him.
Yeah.
There's absolutely 0 point. We have to move forward long term and try and build a new team that's going to compete.
Yeah, so I agree with you wholeheartedly on both points. I do think I can't think of a better game that he's had that KDB's had this season. And I do think you're right as well that we can't be short-sighted and go, right, do you know what? De Bruyne's had one good game. He can play, give him another year. We can't do that. And the mad thing is, someone who was it? Taurus, who's one of our viewers, said this yesterday, that 1 minute you've got people talking about 1 minute you've got people saying De Bruyne's old, De Bruyne's past it, we need to get rid of De Bruyne. Next minute they're going, we need to give him another year.
That game. Next morning, Nick rang me, the Nick from Melbourne, right? And he rang me, and I was walking down the main street in Melbourne, and he was saying, "We've got to sign him again. We've got to sign him." I went, Nick, I said, "You've got to sign a player for long term, not short term now."
Yeah.
And I said,
I think
he says he could go to Liverpool or United. I said, mate, listen. I said, he's great. If he goes anywhere, it's America. They said, because he'll set himself up. He'll sign a contract similar to Messi in a way that he can come back to America and own a football club. That's what Messi's done and what Beckham did. And there's no reason why he can't do that. And it's not that he's old. He's had too many injuries in a very short space of time. That's the main reason.
And to be honest with you as well, we have to, this is the thing on yesterday's show, I was saying that we have to understand that there's many, many other things that come into it, right? And probably from Manchester City's point of view, if we go back to Sergio Aguero, right, we know Sergio Aguero, whether it be at the start of his career at City or the end of his career at City, when Sergio Aguero played, he scored goals, right?
Yes.
However, it got to a point in his last season where he wasn't available much, right? And
injuries.
So City went to him and said, we'll offer you a new contract, but it's going to be a pay-as-you-play contract, right?
Yeah.
And he said, no, I don't want that. I'm on, I think Aguero was probably on about 250. I want 250. I want the same. I just want an extension. And we have to remember that these things are important. Kevin De Bruyne is on 375 grand, 400 grand a week, right? We are about to go through the biggest rebuild we have seen, yeah?
Yep.
Which is going to cost more than ever before, right?
Yep.
For that to happen, we can't be paying Kevin De Bruyne 400 grand a week. We can't. We do not have the facilities. Anyway, someone else has come on to join you, Alan.
Is he there? It's Martin, isn't it?
It's not Martin, no.
Nick?
It's not Nick, no.
Oh.
Bear with me. Where's the three people? There's the three overlay. I'll have to do that one. Edit.
Pat.
Get rid of 6.
Pat.
Hello, Fossil.
Oh, is he? I heard rumours today that you were coming down to Melbourne for tomorrow night. Is that right?
I still haven't made a decision yet. I might tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Can you see him yet?
Yeah.
Can you see him? Martin. Alan, can you see him yet?
Do it again.
He's calling me Martin.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, I'm not as big as Martin.
Are they those John Cena glasses, mate? You can't see anyone.
Can you see each other yet?
Yeah,
it's all good.
All right, no, it's just I'm changing the layout, so my layout is different to what you lot can see at the moment.
You've got me and Pat at the top of the screen, and you're on the far. There we go. That's better. That's better.
There we go. Sorry, I had to edit quickly. How are you, Pat? There you go. Sorry, how are you, Alan?
Very good again.
No, I'm talking to the person below.
Oh God!
You're the shock if you've been drinking.
Someone wishes I was still on holiday.
Yeah. Well, I don't. No, do you know what? I don't. I'm glad I'm back. To be honest, I'm glad I'm back. I was explaining to my daughter that you need kind of good times. You need normal times. Otherwise, if normal is being away all the time, then you've got no good times. So
yeah.
No, I'm glad to be back. Anyway, yeah. So what look at this. Anyway, I agree with you. It's a great performance from De Bruyne. I hope that we see more performances like that in the coming weeks.
We need them. We
need performances like that in the coming weeks. But even if we do get another 6 performances like that, I don't think we can change our stance and be going, do you know what, maybe we should keep Kevin De Bruyne. I just don't. Yeah. Because if we keep him, it will impact our summer, right? If we keep Kevin De Bruyne, we're going to have to pay him similar to what he's on because America will be offering him big money. Saudi will be offering him big money. And then we can rule out at very least. Now, here's a question, and this is for anyone, because Pat, I think was it you that was thinking maybe keep him for one more season?
You asked me that a few months ago, and my tone has sort of changed over recent weeks with
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So to anyone that is on the we should keep Kevin De Bruyne for one more season, if we keep Kevin De Bruyne for one more season, that will mean that whoever our key replacement for De Bruyne is, we probably don't get them. Because let's say it's Wirtz. To get Wirtz, we probably need to free up the Kevin De Bruyne wage, right? Now, some might say, well, get Wirtz next season. Wirtz will be gone by next season.
Yeah, he will.
And we can't do this because there's players like Bruno Guimaraes. We could have got Bruno Guimaraes last summer. We won't get him this summer.
No chance.
No.
He's staying in Newcastle.
I don't think you're getting him at all now.
Nah.
I think now that Newcastle have won a trophy, and that's not only something they can hold on to, but it's something that they can take a step up from.
Yeah,
they'll be looking for bigger, shinier cups and longer and stronger league runs now because of that. Yeah. And if anybody doesn't think that, then don't think we did the same in 2011. So
yeah, 100% agree with you. I think. I mean, I know it's only an FA Cup, a League Cup that they won, but I think the fact they had that League Cup will have massively increased their ability to get sponsors as well, and to get sponsors to pay more. I mean, to be frank with you, they don't need sponsors; they've got money, but they probably don't want to go through the whole situation we've gone through with getting them on time.
Listen, you don't speak about Newcastle too much because Martin has got a massive agenda against Newcastle.
Oh, really? Alan, you wear zebra pants just like bloody old mate from Old Trafford those days.
What's this guy? Then?
He's miserable 24/7. He's only happy when he walks across pedestrian crossings because they're black and white.
Ever since I've known Martin, which is a long time, he's had this thing against Newcastle. I don't know what it is, and he calls me a closet Newcastle fan, and I don't know why. But there we go.
Why?
Yeah, don't know. Why? Don't know. If we're now snapping. Here he goes. Alan wants a Newcastle season ticket.
And he's saying that because he's waiting. Because he's keeping an eye on the chat.
I am interested. Do you know what? I think we're an interesting fan base when it comes to Newcastle because I'm already seeing other fan bases starting this. And do you know what? The reason I see it is because Cass, who's a United fan downstairs, and then a few other people I do content with, I'm seeing them starting this. We need to be careful of Newcastle. Newcastle must be stopped. Whereas with us, I feel like with City a bit more, we are. Do you know what? We know where they're coming from, and we know we know that fan base is going to act all. I like Newcastle for a couple of maybe another year or so, and then that will completely change. And all of a sudden, the slander on Newcastle will be insane. I'm interested to see how we handle it because we've been the dominant team of England, and we are at risk of losing that dominance if Newcastle are allowed to spend money. And so I do find it quite interesting if we basically treat Newcastle how we got treated. And I'd like
to be honest with Newcastle. Sorry, Alan, just quickly. With Newcastle, if they do things the right way and they're able to find more success over the coming years, if certain established teams don't start changing the way that they do things, then we could see the whole, by the next generation, you could see the idea of what a top 4 is or what a top 6 is completely change. The emergence of those sort of regulation, like mid-table teams like your Aston Villas and that now all coming to the front as well too, and being majorly competitive for huge chunks of a season in all competitions now. You are starting to see subtle changes happen across top flight English football. And if the more established clubs don't do anything about it, or don't they are trying to do something about it because they're bloody trying to, get us in judiciaries and courts and shit anyway. But if they don't start sorting out things on the pitch, then you are going to see everything shift in terms of dominance and who's going to be the dominant forces in English football.
Yeah. I've got an attitude of they are coming, Newcastle, without any doubt, and whoever's the best on the pitch wins. It's as simple as that. And I don't want to stop them, but the Red Cartel might have something to say about that and the way they want to do it, without a doubt.
And that's, do you know what? That's where my stance would be, is that we don't sell our souls and join the Red Cartel to try and stop Newcastle. That I would hope, and do you know what? I would probably think that the relationship between Khaldoon and ultimately his Muslim brothers, stay strong, right? And don't become part of that. Just quickly, in fact, before we talk about transfers and everything else as well, did you catch did either of you watch the Rags last night?
I was on Martin's show this morning with Patrick, and my reaction when they scored 3 goals in about 5 minutes or whatever it was, I wasn't very happy. I was furious. So, and the penalty was iffy. Their penalty was iffy.
So
I feel like a few City fans overreacted to it, because they think that because Lyon have had the wood against us in the last few years whenever we played them. Why all of a sudden do they just bend over for United? But this Lyon team is not the same Lyon team that we played in previous years. This is a team that's really, really struggling at the moment. They're 22 points off the top of the Liga. They are in real financial strife at the moment too. So they've got a lot of problems on hand at the moment too. So to be honest, I think given what they're going through, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the fans are actually surprised they got this far in this competition, So sure, the manner in which they did it was disappointing. But one thing I've got to say about United is they seem to have one of these games in them every single season. Remember, they did that against Liverpool in the FA Cup quarterfinals last season, I think it was, where they just came back from nowhere in an extra time and won it. Yeah, they always seem to have one in the tank it's only one every season, but they always seem to have one in a knockout competition.
Well, my setup here was mad because I live with 2 United fans, right? So Cass was due to do a watch along for it. However, for some reason, I think when he saw the lineup, he thought, I'm not doing a watch along. He was livid at the lineup, right? Yeah. So he went out to what is the man cave where he lives, where his room separate to the house. He went out there, was watching out there. So I was watching it with Soups, my other mate I live with. And he's a bit more signed off on Man United at the moment. He don't care. He's gone. At the moment, I'm just... but we put it on. And United were 3-1 up. Am I right with 3-1? Were they 3-1 up?
They were 2-0 up.
2-0, 2-2. Lyon went to 4-2, and then it came all the way back to 5-4.
And then with about 3 minutes to go, they scored 3 goals.
Do you know what? Right. When it got to 2-2, I went to bed because I'd fallen asleep because I was knackered. I'm getting up really early, so I've fallen asleep. So I woke up, went upstairs, took myself upstairs, and just usually before I actually go to sleep, I go on Instagram quick, and I saw Saeed's reactions to going 4-2 down. Right? Is that right? They went 4-2 down? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm there laughing my head off, right? And all I can hear downstairs is Soups going, come on, come on, getting really, and I'm literally cracking up to myself, thinking he's punching. I can hear him punching the sofa, and then I hear him cheer once. So I look at the score, I see 4-3. Then I see 4-4, and then I hear Cass run in the house screaming. And at that point, I just turned my phone off, rolled over, and thought, "You fucking bastards!" I went.
I know, mate. I was, mate. If you watch the Mancunian way, you'll see my reaction. I was not happy at all.
Yeah,
I hate those bastards. I really do.
So this one here, Turkey, no thanks. Again, I only watched the first 90 minutes. I didn't watch the extra time. I quite liked what I saw of Turkey. We have to remember he's playing in a Lyon team. He's not playing with Haaland. He's not playing with Marmoush. He's not playing with Rodri. I quite like the look of him. I think him in a City team would really, and he'd be cheap, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but Turkey, because of Lyon's financial situations, you'd get on the cheap.
Yep.
What do you guys think of him for what you saw? Or what you know of him?
I've been through the internet, and last week I was bored. And since January 1, Man City have names that they're going to sign. He's now 76 players. Yeah, and so I take it with a pinch of salt when I see anything within the media about what City are going to do as far as signings are concerned.
But what do you? I mean, right. So I'll be honest with you. I don't watch Lyon, right? So yesterday was a good chance for me to watch him. What I saw of him, I quite liked. We would get him. I've just looked here. Some sources indicate Lyon are willing to sell him for around 22 to 25 million.
I prefer the guy from Forest.
Morgan Gibbs-White. Yeah. Right, Morgan Gibbs-White is going to cost 80 million.
I prefer him. Now a lot of people will say, "Oh no, he's not got a fancy European name." We're not playing FIFA here. I want someone who's going to contribute to the team for a long period.
Well, I mean, he's got a double barrel name, which you could kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But I've watched him all season. And I think he's a good one.
Agreed, but this is the same thing. We're talking about a summer transfer window where we and this is a thing. I had someone in the chat yesterday saying, "But we've got money." I get we've got money, right? But we can't, like, the amount of players we need to. Right, Edison is going. Yeah, we need an Edison replacement. Ortega is likely to be going. We're going to need an Ortega replacement. By the looks,
I know one. We can just go. Have you seen Trafford's stats this year?
Yeah. Again, how much? All right. So, perfect example. How much would Trafford cost?
Well, we've got a buyback on him, don't we?
Yeah, we have a buyback.
We have, right. So let's.
It's like 20 or 30 million or something. Yeah.
Right. So let's say 30 million. So that's 30 million. We're gonna need a second choice as well. I don't know. I just feel like we have to. If there's places we can get, because for me, I don't know about you two. For me, I want Wirtz. I'm sold on Wirtz. I want Wirtz. And that's going to cost us.
Yeah. I know we want him, but we all want him. But it's whether he wants us.
Yeah, agreed. He seems open to it. I think the main person that doesn't is his dad. His dad, I think, wants buy-in. But also, to be fair, his dad is, from what I've been told, his manager, his agent. And so his dad's going to say whatever he needs to say to try and get the maximum amount of money for his son and for probably Leverkusen.
His dad's doing the right thing by trying to get both clubs into a potential bidding war.
100%. That's
exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's football business for you. Yeah.
I've seen us being linked with Shirky a few times, and when I see the price, I think even it says 22 to 25 million euros, 30 million euros for him, or 80 million for Morgan Gibbs-White. Now, for me, I would say that Morgan Gibbs-White probably has more of an engine in him and probably could operate in more.
He goes big time.
Yeah. But I don't know. From what I'm hearing off of everyone, we need to replace almost our whole midfield, right? So having a couple of extra players at 30 million euros, if we can get him, then I think it's a no-brainer. And furthermore, if we don't, he's going to go to a rival. Now, this is a keeper that I think I'd like as well, by the way, 100%. But it's how much he's going to cost. Trafford would be easier to do, put it that way. But
okay,
since you keep eye.
Here's something. Well, I would prefer Morgan Gibbs-White over Ryan Cherky.
Yeah,
sounds great. Off the bat, saying, "Oh, you're looking at this potential quality, attacking midfielder, for less than 30 million or something like that. It's a good opportunity to take advantage of a club that's financially in a bit of strife at the moment." But there's a reason why, in my opinion, why Ryan Cherky has been on this upward trajectory of good form in recent seasons. But yet he's been at Lyon for 6 years already.
Yeah,
and no other team has come after him. Like, that sort of stands out for me as to, like, why has he been there for so long? And he's still at roughly at this amount of money as well too. The other thing I have question marks about Ryan Cherky as well is I've heard from numerous sources as well that he can be a little bit of a problem both in the clubhouse and the fact that I think he has family members that are
that's the one I've heard, the family members.
I get real Rabiot vibes from him, where he can be a bit of a clubhouse cancer, and I think his mum's his agent, and she is apparently one of the worst agents in European football to deal with. Like, she's very demanding and just very difficult, and that sort of rubs off on her son, the player. And I think Ryan Cherky does a similar thing as well too.
That's the exact same thing that I've heard.
For Morgan Gibbs-White, I'm willing to pay the extra 50 million for a ready-made Premier League footballer. Right. The other big thing that really stands out for me with Morgan Gibbs-White too is he's had something like 5 goals and 10 assists for a Forest side that is one of the lowest possession-based teams in all of the Premier League. That is, it's bang average stats for any player in the Premier League. But when you think about how minimal possession Forest play with, it's actually decent stats. And that, for me, is a lot more appealing than taking a punt on someone who's going to be a bit cheaper, who you don't even know may not even like life in English football, but then at the same time could be an absolute clubhouse cancer as well too. Yeah. There's a reason why I've never been a fan of going after any players at PSG over recent years, because I've always thought that club was always a club full of egos and big name, a big team of individuals and things like that. And you took anybody out of there, they'd bring that same attitude, that same ego into a very harmonious clubhouse like we've had over recent years at City. And I don't want that. And I think Ryan Cherky, with the way things are off the field with him and for what you hear about him off the pitch as well too, don't want anywhere near the club.
Yeah. And here's another one. MK's just said Cherky's has had a few medicals failed in the last few seasons. That's interesting as well. I've heard that. Who was it that used to be? There was a player. Was it Anelka? Whose brothers were his agents. Yeah. And I have heard it. And someone's saying, have we got any incidents? I don't know of any incidents.
His brothers must be the best agents in the world. Some of the contracts they were able to get him at some big clubs, like, those guys must be able to sell ice to an igloo. I mean, ice to an Eskimo. Like, honestly, like, they must be some of the best salesmen in the world.
Yeah, literally. Okay, so Cherky. Now, the other ones I saw was the other links I saw. So Morgan Gibbs-White. For me, I would like Morgan Gibbs-White. I think there was an interesting report that came out it was about 10 days ago. So it was just before I went on holiday. It said Manchester City are interested in Morgan Gibbs-White and Wirtz as a KDB replacement, right? And my thing with that is I don't want Morgan Gibbs-White as a De Bruyne replacement. However, I think Morgan Gibbs-White in our midfield, I would love. And I've liked it because we
said it on Martin's show earlier, Dabs. We'd have him as a Bernardo replacement.
Yes, exactly that. He's got an engine on him.
Not in the way that Bernardo would leave this summer. I think Bernardo will see out his contract, and I think next season he'll just be a squad player. He needs that rest. He's just been playing nonstop for about 3 or 4 seasons already. Yeah, and I think for the last season as a City, I'd be happy to just have him as rotational.
100% agree with you.
We've got to get out of our heads, every City fan, that we're never going to replace KDB. Different type of player we have to get.
Yeah,
there isn't a replacement for KDB. There isn't.
Not only is that creativity, yeah, you're right, Alan. Not only is that creativity going to be coming from somewhere else, but it's going to be happening in a much different way.
Yeah,
that's why you can't replace him. Because nobody can do what nobody currently in football can do what he does.
I totally agree. Do you know what? I actually think if you look at it, is Haaland a replacement for Aguero? No, they're different players, right?
Daps, I'm going to ask you a question. Well, I asked my mate the other day. Haaland in his prime and Aguero in his prime. Which one would you go for? Be honest.
This is why it's such a difficult conversation. Right. So that question to me is the same as David Silva or Kevin De Bruyne, right? Because David Silva and Kevin De Bruyne are different players, completely different players, right? Haaland and Aguero are also different players. And it's one of those ones where I don't know how to answer it, because who is a better goal scorer? I don't even... Right, here's the thing. I don't even know if Haaland is a better goal scorer than Aguero, because Manchester City changed the way they played to suit the way Haaland plays, right?
Yep.
So
I still prefer Aguero for the simple reason I feel like he could do.
I'm Aguero
with the ball,
all day long.
Alan. He could do more. He could do more with the ball with less. Just if he picked the ball up from 30 yards out, could take 2 steps flat-footed and then bang it in top corner. I don't think Haaland can do that. Well, now he can't do that.
Yeah, Nick.
He can do more with less.
Yeah,
Aguero can do more with less.
Nick wants to join us, Daps.
Yeah, I'm trying to send him now. That's why I'm kind of half doing one thing, half doing another. I'm sending it. I need to get WhatsApp on the computer, actually. Yeah, there you go, Nick. Send it through to you. Yeah, I think I'd probably go with Aguero. I would.
Right now, yeah, this is definitely a conversation that's worth coming back to in maybe 5 years' time.
Yeah, agreed.
Because by then, Haaland will be in his prime, and we'll know exactly what sort of goal scorer we have, or how much he may have evolved as a goal scorer as well too. We don't know. In a few seasons, he could be doing the drop in the midfield as good as what Harry Kane's been doing for so many years already. We don't know.
Do you know what? That's a valid point. We have to remember Haaland's age. We have to remember the instructions he has been given. And I'll always say this: one of the Steve got to go to one of Haaland's, well, not one of his first training sessions, but in his first season and first 6 months at the club, Steve got to go to a training session, and he said Haaland kept trying to drop deep, and Pep kept saying, no, you don't drop deep. You drop deep, you bring defenders into an area where we need other players to operate, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Nick's going to join us shortly. People, there's 125 of you in here. The likes are only at 83. Please, let's get those likes over 100. Please, and you should hear him first, then you'll see him afterwards. Hi, Nick, you there?
How are you guys? You well?
Yeah, not bad. Bear with me.
Hey,
Let me
how are we, boys?
this layout.
Good,
Nick, how are you?
Good, mate. Good.
You guys can carry on. Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Have you got permission to come in the Imperial tomorrow night?
I have, as long as Pat's making his way down for a guest appearance.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Good lad. We're going for something to eat first before you start, and then we're going after.
Sounds
perfect. Join as you can.
Have you booked your flights yet, Pat?
No, I don't need to.
So KDB going, mate, Nick.
I don't.
Really?
Yeah, I work for Qantas, mate. It doesn't matter. I could book them now. I could book them tomorrow. I could have booked them a month ago. They all cost the same.
Unreal.
Mate, why do you think he goes to England so much? He's not paying full price, is he?
Yep. Alan, I'm still pissed off since they changed the passport regulations in the UK. I had to get a new one. I was trying to fill every page with a stamp.
Well, yeah.
So my old one's valid still for 5 months, but now they changed the law where it has to be 6 months validity from when you leave.
Yeah,
and
right.
I had to get a new one.
Yep.
Oh well. Whoa.
Anyway, so what were we talking about? We were talking about right, goalkeepers. Let's move on to goalkeepers. Are we all kind of accepted that we're probably going to lose both of our keepers?
Yeah.
Well,
yep.
Are we very surprised if we don't get Trafford? Very surprised.
I haven't seen us link with him.
Yeah, we're not getting him, mate.
We are. We've seen his stats this year. Stop thinking it was 2 years ago.
Alan, your way of thinking is very unique. Your way of thinking. Hold on, Alan. Your way of thinking was very unique there, right? Nick said,
try not to dissect till you hurt yourself.
I said I haven't seen us link with him. Nick said we're not getting him, and you said, have you seen his stats this season?
Yeah.
Can I just tell you, right? Liverpool. Have you seen where Liverpool are at the moment? Yeah, we don't get their Premier League, right? They get it, right? Stats. We can't. I hear you. Why it would be a good thing to go and get Trafford, but I haven't seen one link with him.
He's linked everywhere else, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's linked with like Newcastle and a few other teams.
I've got to say though, Alan for once actually speaks some sense because I'm just looking at his stats.
Amazing.
41 appearances, 28 clean sheets, 13 goals conceded. So when he has conceded, he's only averaging 1 goal a game.
Yeah. Is he's still at Burnley?
Yeah, he's still Burnley.
It seems like one of those.
He's getting older as well, which is good. He's getting older and more experienced.
It seems like one of those ones where we don't seem interested in him.
Yep.
I don't understand why. He's in the England squad now.
Well, he must be interested in some way. I mean, if we've got the buyback or a sell on in place, I mean, there must be some sort of interest. Just maybe at the moment all the hype's around Chevalier and I can't remember the name of the other guy. Well, Diogo Costa. I know there was another one that we were interested in, but yeah. Some of the rumors we have are deflectionary, but is what it is.
You're pretty confident we're getting him, Alan.
Yeah.
Do you know,
Alan, are you at ITK?
No, I'm just very confident we're going to get him.
Yeah, he's Burnley mates, yeah.
Let me have a quick look at what our buyback is, because we did.
It'll be a good price. He's getting more experience. He's getting better every year. He's now in the full England squad, which he is. He's got to be worth looking at, mate.
I don't disagree with you. It's just so.
Does the chat know? Because I know there's definitely a buyback for him, and it's like 20 or 30 mil.
40.
40, okay.
Which
Pocket changed the city that now.
Yeah, I think, but that's the thing. I haven't seen it. That's the only thing is because I haven't seen any rumors. And like Nick said, I've seen him linked to Newcastle. I've seen not only that he's linked, I've seen that it's
almost a done deal.
It's almost a done deal that he's going Newcastle.
I'll throw you one, Alan. If we were to get him back, would you want him as the second choice or would you want him as first choice?
I would have him as first choice to start with.
I think you'd have to be offering him.
You have to.
I think,
you can't be the mainstay in the Championship and then suddenly just become second string in the Premier League.
Yeah,
especially not at 22. Maybe at 32, but not 22.
Even more so if Newcastle are that keen on him. And let's be honest, if Newcastle keen on him, I'm pretty certain Chelsea must have had a look at him, right?
Yep.
And even more so, let's be honest, there is no chance in this world that Joe Shields has not looked at him, right? Because Joe Shields looks at any young player that he's worked with at any point at Manchester City. So he will have looked at him.
Yeah.
So if Chelsea are looking at him, Newcastle are looking at him, we have to be offering him first team football. But I can't see it. Costa, do you know what? I feel unfortunately, when you watch YouTube and you see these people that genuinely do watch other leagues, other teams, I don't, right? So I unfortunately get to judge players on when I see the rare game. And the rare game I saw of Costa was against Man United. And he had an absolute stinker.
Yep. See, Martin's against the idea, right, of Trafford. Yeah. It's too big a drop off from it. It's a drop off when if Edison goes, we're not going to get the same type of goalkeeper again as good as him. We're not.
Yeah.
So anyone's a drop off, Martin. I'm sorry, but it's not. He left City 2-3 years ago. He's a lot older and he's a lot better than he was.
Yeah, Alan. I think the question then becomes is that you wonder what. First of all, it's what I think it comes down. Our preferences come down to like who we think best suits what City want to play. But we've also got to look at maybe what the club want to do. Are they willing to look at another keeper that can offer really good distribution? Maybe not the levels of Edison, but are we willing to bring the gap between a keeper who has amazing distribution skills, is the best in the world with his feet, and be able to bring a better shot stopper up to the level? Are we willing to drop the distribution keeper to have a better shot stopper?
Trafford is brilliant with his feet.
Yeah.
How much have you watched Trafford?
Sorry, just to show this. I can't comment because I don't know.
I've only heard that Chevalier is good with his feet. I don't know if he's Edison levels, but I've heard he's good with his feet. So if they were going to continue with that trend, I wouldn't be surprised if he's his first preference or first choice. But again, the big question then becomes are we going to bring Trafford in, because that's a huge step up on our English quota as well too.
Yes, yeah, which is a thing as well. I'm glad you said that, because again, with Morgan Gibbs-White, that is a thing. The English quota most definitely is a thing. I'm just thinking though, the players we expect to leave. Any English players expected to leave? McAtee,
Jack,
no,
Jack potentially, yeah.
I think one of Stones or Ake goes, potentially both.
Sorry?
I think one of Stones or Ake, or potentially both, goes.
So Stones
and they both count to the homegrown quota.
Does Ake does, right? Because of Chelsea.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Got you. Right, so that could potentially be 4. Yeah, so 4. So we will need to then.
Yeah.
Does Oscar Bob's 23, I think, next year too. So wouldn't he get close to becoming the quota based on age as well too? He would come into that as well.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because yes, he was technically quota, but because he was under a certain age, it didn't necessarily qualify the squad.
Hence why
O'Reilly's too young, right? O'Reilly's still too young.
Yeah, O'Reilly's still too young. Yeah.
Hence why Trafford's a good idea. English quota.
Yeah. As Morgan Gibbs-White, Trafford. The other keeper that I saw we got linked with today,
Lunin,
was Lunin, Madrid's second choice. Now I have a feeling that would not be as our first choice. That would be as our Ortega backup.
Why leave Madrid being their backup to come be our backup?
Unless Madrid are already looking at someone else themselves.
Potentially, yeah.
But
I was thinking too.
I just think if we get Lunin, I can't see it being to be our number 1. I can't see City going and getting Madrid's number 2 as our number 1. I don't see it happening. And furthermore, if he was worth it, then the price tag would be more than 20 million. I don't think they'd be putting 20 million on someone. If someone was that good as a second choice keeper, and I understand you're not gonna, you're not gonna get rid of Couture for him.
Or if Ortega leaves, we're putting at least 10, 15 million on him.
Yeah, in the Vert deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, that's good because that's complete profit. So
the whole homegrown thing is going to be really interesting. I think there's, especially in the positions we're kind of looking, I think if they may have to hold on to a couple of the English players, your Stones, Akes and things like that.
Yeah.
Realistically, because if we're losing Jack, McAtee, all of these blokes, I struggle to find kind of forward options that are English that City will want, besides maybe Morgan Rodgers and Gibbs-White, if I'm being entirely honest. I feel like there's almost a bit of a lack in that, like, world-class left wing, right wing. Do
you know what? That's probably a good, when you're looking at Morgan Rodgers and Morgan Gibbs-White, I'd say with both of them, there's probably, dependent on who gets Champions League football, it probably has an impact on which one City might end up going for. Because, if Forest get Champions League football, they're going to want even more from Morgan Gibbs-White because they want to keep him, right? Yeah. If they don't, they might then think, let's cash in on him because But
more for that
time,
reason,
Villa,
I think
let's be honest, with Villa and Forest's owners, they're both very ambitious. They're not selling clubs. They're trying to grow their clubs. They're ambitious. So I think doing business with either of them is not going to be easy. So
Villa have been forced to be in a stupid position because they've had to sell some of their best players just because of PSR.
Yeah.
Like, they should never have been put in that position.
Yeah.
So they've been put in a position that should never.
Fault.
Yeah.
That's the cartel's fault.
I was going to say probably.
Any started on the cartel, Alan is here for.
All day.
Actually, I noticed yesterday, have Man United gone and got a new tunnel? The tunnel looked a bit bigger. Or has it been like that for a while?
Been like that for a bit.
It's probably an extra drainage system.
Right, the last one that I saw us linked with, and it seems to be people love it or people hate it, and I get that. I don't know how difficult it would be to do, is Rodrygo from Real Madrid.
What were the latest reports on this one, Dabs?
That Pep's very keen on him. Hold on, let me find it for you. Give me a second.
Do you think it's a bit of a coincidence that this has come out less than 24 hours after they've been knocked out of the Champions League?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised in the slightest.
No, 100%. I think
because I think if Madrid went through, this rumor wouldn't have come up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree. However, there is reasons for why. There's no smoke without fire, right?
Yeah.
And
we've been linked to him a few times as well. I'm pretty
sure. We have. I believe Pep spoke with him last summer. Pretty certain Pep's a fan of him. But also we do know, and Pat, you're right. But one of the causes of this may well be that when Madrid go out of a competition like the Champions League, right, in the quarterfinal, then we know certain things. We know that Ancelotti is likely to get sacked. And we know that Madrid will go and throw the kitchen sink at some more players. And so I would imagine Rodrygo's agent straight away is thinking, do you know what? Mbappe ain't going nowhere. Vinicius ain't going nowhere. Let me speak with some people out there.
It's funny. The Instagram model Mbappe goes to Real Madrid. It was at PSG. And they can't win diddly shit when he's there.
I think with Mbappe, I think they got too much of a good thing.
I think
it sounds on paper. On paper, it sounds amazing when you got Vinny on the left, Rodrygo on the right, and Mbappe in the center. But Mbappe's not at his best when he plays in the center. Maybe for France, he plays better for France when he plays through the middle, but not at Real Madrid. I think if Real Madrid truly wanted to become that sort of Galacticos attack, I think one of them would have to go, and I think the first one to fall would probably be Rodrygo.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think I saw the other day when they did get knocked out that they said they've missed having a target man up front. Like last year they had what's his name, Hosselu.
Yeah.
So I actually do believe that Rodrygo will probably be the one that's forced out. They'll play the other two on either wing, and they'll go and get their proper number 9.
Yeah,
I think honestly, Real Madrid this season have really missed Toni Kroos.
Yep,
because that was just a midfielder that was just always there for 10 years plus, putting in at least 7 out of 10 performances, and just he's good. Some of his best performances were the ones that you never really paid attention to.
Yep.
Because he basically controlled his area of midfield, and he just let every other midfielder and attacker play ahead of him, just go and play their natural game. That's why I think Bellingham's dropped off a bit this season, because him playing along Toni Kroos, he learned so much, and I think Toni Kroos gave him that freedom just to go forward.
Yeah,
he's really missing him this season.
Do you think Bellingham's overrated, Pat, or not?
I wouldn't say overrated. I think he's the true quality of that player would have to be unlocked by. I kind of look at it in a similar way to like Mo Salah in a way, where it was like he had a good career. He was okay at Chelsea. He was decent at Fiorentina, but a manager like Jurgen Klopp truly opened him up, like unlocked him to, like, we saw his full potential. I don't know what manager would get the best out of Jude Bellingham. I thought Carlo Ancelotti got a lot out of him last season, but again, I always believe that whenever a player does exceptional numbers in a position they're not familiar with, and they do it in their first season, the big question mark becomes, can they back it up in the second season?
Yep.
There's always that potential. They call it in America the sophomore slump. And if you do in your first season, that's sort of that unknown commodity sort of situation with a player as well. It's the same thing goes with managers as well too. But if he can back it up in the second season, then that's when I think you really have serious conversations about how damn good a player can be. But I think Jude Bellingham is a quality player, but I think under the right manager, I don't know who that might be. It could be Pep. I really don't know. I think he would have had the potential to have those numbers he did last season for more seasons to come. And since then, I'm not sure.
I think one of the reasons his numbers have dropped is because, the Jude Bellingham I loved, the Jude Bellingham I was a massive fan of, was Jude Bellingham at Dortmund, was Jude Bellingham at England when he first started playing for England. When he was playing in an 8 role, right? Not I wouldn't even say box to box. He was literally more like just a central midfielder.
Playing at a mad rapid tempo, just going every game.
With an unbelievable football brain.
And an Erling Haaland in front of him.
Yeah. He went to Madrid, exactly that. He went to Madrid where ultimately he was asked to do the job of a 10, right? He's not a 10, right? However, he did a fucking good job as a 10, to be fair to him, and got mad numbers.
Yeah.
I never really, personally, when I watched him, I never thought he was showing that great ability in midfield anymore. It's like that had dropped off, but he was hitting the box sensationally.
Dabs, it also helped him the fact that he had Kroos and Modric, two midfielders that he would have absolutely idolized growing up as a kid, playing behind him as well too. So they would have just said, let us do our job. You just go off and just go crazy.
100%. It's all about what you've got behind you, right?
Yeah.
And giving you, and look at our club this season, right? All of a sudden without Rodri behind you, and the same thing you can go to Liverpool the minute Fabinho dropped off. When you haven't got certain players behind you, things change. I just think this season he's been asked to go back into doing more of an 8 role, and I think maybe he's taken a little while to. But I feel like what saddens me is he's become Madridified and very entitled.
He's up into the diving, the
diving and
stuff.
I just it's the entitlement. I mean, some of the stuff I was seeing in the game against Arsenal, not just from Bellingham, but from all of them, where there's at one point where Mbappe had a shot, it clearly came off him, and the way he was looking at the referee, like the referee was crazy for giving a goal kick, where it's like they brainwash you into thinking every decision you should get.
If we go back to Rodrygo for a second, I think he's almost the outlier in that case. He seems to be the one that has the least ego. He seems the most humble out of the lot of them. I think we've kind of all been saying this season that we haven't got that finished product winger. That is the ideal winger for Pep. He's got a bit of both. He can be explosive. He can be getting in behind. Again, this is from Jude Bellingham as well. Himself has said Rodrygo is the most technically gifted player in that football team. Yeah, he's an unbelievable player.
And Nick, too, if you look at the current wingers we have as well, too, I think the problem we have is you've got Jeremy Doku, who's just raw still, in my opinion. He'll take time, and then you've got Savinho, who's just raw in terms of time in England. So
and again, Bob just also young as well. I think if Jack moves on and they do need another winger, he should be obviously number 1 on the list, but it's probably the hardest deal to get done.
I think the hard one is, and this is where it's difficult for us, because we've got Doku, Grealish, Marmoush, Foden, Savio, Bob, right? 6 players. Now, all right, if you want to remove Foden from that and say Foden's more of a more of a
central player,
a midfielder or a 10, fine. You could maybe say, but this is a thing.
We've still got so many.
Yeah, and I think that's a difficult thing. If he comes in, who is not getting game time now? Rodrygo could operate at City on the right, because I actually think Savio on the left could be more creative. I think Savio on the right, his go-to is to shoot. Savio on the left. And someone's mentioned Echeverri, another one. Echeverri can play on the wings as well. So the links with, but I don't know. For me personally, I don't think we need wingers. But whenever I have conversations with people about what City needs, a winger is always mentioned.
Yeah. I think realistically, if you want to go out and Pep wants to go out and say, look, I want to win next season, if he had Marmoush on the left and Rodrygo on the right, I think that's almost set and forget. And then you have Savio, Doku, Bob as the three understudies. I think potentially even Doku could move on.
Oh, Nick, I'd just say Mamouche on the left, just purely on paper. I'd give him the freedom to move across the entire front three.
See, to me, as much as Doku's got ability beating players, his end product is poor.
I think his time's running out, Alan.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think
let me ask you this: if we were to get Rodrygo to come into the club, do you think someone like Doku is probably out the door? To make way. Yeah.
I think Doku's an interesting case as well because he seems to struggle playing kind of 2 to 3 games in a week. His body kind of can't handle it. Just gets a lot of kind of small muscle injuries. So I'm just not sure. Again, Pep's.
I just think he gives the ball away far too much for me.
Oh, I don't think that, Alan. I think he's actually.
There's moments where he frustrates you, like Raheem Sterling used to do, where his feet were quicker than his brain.
Yeah.
Do you know what?
Can I just say? Don't talk to me about him.
Alan, I feel the same way. If we had someone that was 20% more clinical than Raheem Sterling, then bloody Kevin De Bruyne would be up there with Giggs' assist records.
Yeah.
Gabriel Jesus as well. I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, it is what it is.
Can I just say, I actually think Doku gives the ball away, right? And I'm being careful with my words here. I think Doku gives the ball away less than Leroy Sané did, right?
Yep. I think he's
actually, how often did Leroy Sané have a really heavy touch, especially when he was through on goal? The amount of times he'd have the ball and he always have one really heavy touch, and it was either he kick it straight at the keeper, or the keeper was even able to save it.
The one thing I would say is Leroy Sané in front of goal at times probably is more clinical than Doku, right?
Yeah.
But I remember watching games where Pep would bring on Leroy Sané and look close to subbing him almost, because of
he wouldn't track back though, would he? He wouldn't track back.
He wouldn't. And that's the key. He'd give the ball away and then not track back. Doku does track back, right? Doku does track back. I don't know. Doku's really growing on me. I have frustrations with him. My frustration is that when he gets the ball, whereas other players, they get the ball, they look up quickly, or maybe even before the ball's got to them, they've scanned the pitch. They know where Haaland is. They know where other players are. And then they make a decision. Am I going to try and hit the ball or am I going to take him on? With Doku, there's no looking. It's I get the ball, I'm going to take the player on first, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do. But Doku's growing on me. He really is.
Do you think Doku would thrive more if he had a better quality wing back working as an overlap with him?
I think they'd get in each other's way. I think Doku's too unpredictable to play.
Yeah.
Are you saying that because you're more worried about another like Cancelo and Grealish sort of issue?
Well, I was going to say I think Jack would be the actual one that benefits more from an overlapping fullback.
Yeah. Which is why in the treble season we loved the link up on the left side between Ake and Grealish. Yeah. Because they didn't tread on each other's toes, and Ake knew his role. He didn't get too far forward.
Jack was also
over ambitious. He knew his role. It was
and it was also, it wasn't just that. The third part to that was Gundogan as well, who was always there. So Grealish had someone overlapping him or underlapping him. He also had Gundogan, who he knew he could play the ball back to, and at that point, Gundogan was twice the player he is now. Savio. So Savio cooked for Girona on the left. I agree with you on this. That's where I'm thinking. Savio on the left.
His best performances this season have been on the left.
Yeah.
He's been unbelievable. They've been few and far between, but when he's played on the left, he's been unbelievable for us this season.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I think Savio on the left, and then whether it be Bob on the right, or if we were to get Rodrygo, Savio on the left, Rodrygo on the right, I think that would work.
Yeah.
It's a hard one for me because although Doku's growing on me, if I'm to look at what I think would work best for us. I do see a world. And do you know what? The one thing I was going to say as well with do you think some of the business that we're going to do in the summer, right, could be that injuries and availability this season has become more apparent to Pep than ever before.
Yep. And
that he's going, do you know what? If a player is not available for me, I'm kind of done with it now. There's a few players that I've tried over a couple of seasons, but and the truth is, it has cost us this season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, massively.
And this is the key. Whereas with Rodri, it's not going to be that with Rodri, because if a player gets one big injury, then that's understandable, no problem. But when players keep getting niggly injuries or keep being available only once a week, I don't know if I sense that Pep's had enough of that. And he's thinking we can't go on like that.
Yeah. Just on the Rodrygo one, I'll throw it to you lads as well. But I know for the national team, a lot of the time Rodrygo kind of plays out on the left as well. Vinny usually sits up top, and Savio's actually been the one that's playing on the right.
Right.
I know. Yeah, and
I mean, it's not working too well.
No.
It's not working too well for Brazil at the moment, though.
No. But again, I know Rodrygo's kind of. I think previously it was mentioned when he was linked with City that his preferred position is to actually play on the left.
Yeah.
But Vinny's obviously there, and
I think a lot of it depends on who we're going to get rid of. I think if we get rid of certain players, then we'll know who they're going for.
Yeah. The one thing I really hope for the transfer window is that we do something early. I want to see movement early doors. I'm hopeful we will, with the fact that the season's ending that little bit earlier. The fact we've got the Club World Cup, and I have no doubt that the club will want to take some marquee signings with them on the Club World Cup. But I hope we see that.
Daps, from when we play Fulham away to when we play our first match in the States against the Wydad, I think it is, on the 18th of June, we've got 24 days. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or two players come through in that window.
Is that how small it is?
24 days.
Yeah.
From the 25th of May, when we wrap up the league against Fulham away. The first match is on the 18th of June against Wydad, the Moroccan team. And then here's the thing: if we win the FA Cup and go to the Community Shield, let's say we met the Club World Cup final, that's July 13th. The Community Shield's on the 9th of August. That's 27 days.
Yeah, but let's throw back to, in my opinion, do you know what? There's probably two transfer windows that we look at and go, best ever transfer window. The first one would be when we got probably Boateng, Silva, Yaya, Kolarov. I believe that was it, yeah?
That was the first of a good ones, of a good batch, yeah.
The second one that I would always mention is when we got Walker, we got Edison, we got Bernardo Silva.
Centurion summer, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Bernardo Silva was done, I think, about 3-4 days after the season ended. That's what we need to be doing. We need to have deals done as soon as the season is over. We need things being wrapped up.
Yeah,
I'm with you, mate.
I think that's one of the reasons why. Ticky's staying.
I was going to say we've got two men on the job
because we need them in two places at once. I think we'll be doing multiple deals.
Correct.
Yeah, 100%. There'll be someone. It's I find it really interesting, right? Who will be the one that is leading the Verts thing?
God, I hope it's by.
I think it'll be Cheeky, because I think Cheeky will need to sell the project as much as you'll need to persuade. Hey, come and play under Pep. I think he needs to sell the project. Viana's not that. I'm sure he's got an idea of what the project is now. He's probably been indoctrinated into it over the last few months since he came to the club. But Cheeky has the know where to sell it to.
He knows the club inside out as well.
Knows the club inside out as well too. And from what we've heard, Leverkusen are willing to do business with us as well too. So
yeah. And that's key. We spoke on this yesterday. 194 people in it. I want to get this over 200. Likes are only at 138. We're just going to talk for another 10 or so minutes on the Everton game after this. But people, if you're watching this, please get those likes up. 194. We can easily get another 20 more likes out of this. So if you haven't hit the like button, please check it now and give it a smash. I think the key with the Leverkusen thing, Pat, is I know people are saying they don't want McAtee to go. With that is right now we have the advantage over Bayern that they would rather sell to a foreign club than sell to a rival, right? Because we know that if we don't have an advantage, we're then at a disadvantage because Bayern, his dad, staying in Germany, all of that. If they want McAtee, we have to just give him McAtee, is my view. And go, do you know what? Because
I think most of us are conceded that, yeah.
Alan,
do you know what?
What's your thoughts
surprises
on
me, Pat, it surprises me. I think
Alan's pretty keen on keeping McAtee.
There's a lot of keep McAtees out there. I've honestly, because I put a post up about it, the amount of people that I've seen saying, no, we should keep McAtee. Nope. Wirtz is too expensive. We don't need him. We've got this. We've got Foden. One I've seen a lot is, why bring Wirtz in? We've got Foden.
Foden needs competition.
Alan, I'm looking at you for this.
Right, Foden.
Don't sell him, Alan. Don't sell him.
I'm concerned about Foden.
In what way?
Whether or not he gets this sorted out, yeah, or not. His fitness is not very good. He can't play.
Yeah, that's a valid point.
65 minutes and he's walking off. That really does concern me, whether he gets that back or not. And he had a good season last year, but that's last year. This year, he's been terrible.
But then again, Alan, so is everybody else.
Yeah, Alan, I think
true.
Foden's got some credit in the bank, mate. You can't write him off just yet.
Well, it's up to him. It's up to him to sort it out.
We can acknowledge that yes, it's been a down. We can acknowledge that yes, it's been a down year. But I think if this continues on next season, then this conversation is more valid.
Yeah, I
with all due respect, Alan, it is.
With all due respect, if Foden continues his form and we've got Wirtz at the club, Foden's going to end up on the bench and out the picture.
Right. Okay. But let's look at that. Foden being on the bench right now, right? Based on this season, based on the fact that he has had issues, I almost feel like there is a bit of a reset on Foden that's needed. That, you know what?
Yep.
Maybe. And a prime example is let's talk a different sport. Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury needed a reset, and he came back better than ever. Right?
Yep.
Needed a reset. He got there. And when you get there, sometimes mad things can happen, right? Now, by the way, I'm not saying Foden turned into a party animal like Fury or whatever, but when you get there, and let's be real, he's a Man City fan, right? He's won the treble. He's been Premier League Player of the Season, right? He got there. He's at the pinnacle, right?
He's done it all.
He's done it all, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he needs that reset. Maybe Foden needs that reset that takes him back a couple of years to where he was a bench player for us and that he wasn't a guarantee. Because I always remember about 3 seasons ago, maybe 2 seasons ago, Pep said managing Foden up to this point has been very easy, right? Because he's always understood that he's one of the younger people in the pecking order and that he's not a guaranteed starter. After the season he has just had, he said managing Foden now becomes difficult because he wants and expects to play every game. I feel like maybe taking him back to, do you know what, Phil? And he'll understand it where he is at the moment mentally. Right now, you're better off the bench, right? You're better coming on and impacting games and not having that pressure. Because I really do think this season, one of the things with Foden has been, we've had a bad season and all of a sudden I think Foden, when he came back after having his extended leave, thought, shit, this is all on me. I'm now, and rightly so, to be fair, he's on the pedestal. We put him there, right? And now all that pressure is on him. We need to find a way to relieve it. I've even in my head thought, Morgan Gibbs-White, is there any element of this that is based on him and Foden's relationship? Right? You've got to remember, Morgan Gibbs-White is Foden's one of Foden's kids' godparent, right?
Yeah.
They grew up playing in
They
England.
won a World Cup together.
15, 16s, won a World Cup together. So maybe to get the best out of Foden, people have looked at tapes of him and Morgan Gibbs-White playing together and gone, do you know what? Maybe that would work. I'm not saying it will, but anyway, let's move on to that just quickly because kept you guys for a while. Everton at the weekend. Must-win game. No. Is it a must-win game? For me, it's not.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it is. I think the next 2 games will define where we finish.
I think we should just win every game regardless, of course. But I think we have the benefit of knowing that the other clubs around us that are competing all have to play each other. And with the exception of Villa, that's the only one we have to play.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'd like to get these points to keep the pressure on the other clubs below us, if I'm being entirely honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think that mentally plays a big part in it. Just being slightly ahead, having that pressure kind of on them to catch us.
This. Well, listen, I'll outbid you. Pay me 20k a week, and I'll be his friend. No, the way I worded it was, I think it, and I'm sure it isn't that, but I don't know. It is interesting that this player is close with Foden, and not only, I'm not just meaning off the pitch. They did come up playing football together, for England. So, for me, right on this one, what I meant by is it a must-win game, and for me, it's not. If we win this game, I am confident that we go on, beat Villa. I am confident that we finish in the top 5 and get Champions League position, right? However, if someone said to me, do you think Manchester City get Champions League football if they get 4 points out of the next 2 games? I would also say yes, right? For me, beating Villa at home,
it's crucial.
4 points out of the next 2 games for me is crucial, right? We can't afford to lose either game. We can't afford to draw both games. I do believe we can afford to draw one and win one, because I then think after that, I think we get it done. But don't get me wrong, I would like us to beat Everton, but I'm just being realistic. I think Everton at Goodison in one of their last games at home, it's not an easy game at all. It's a very, very difficult game.
Yeah, it is. Everton at Goodison will not be easy.
No. It's even more so now that, but this is where I guess I look at the Palace game, and it gives me hope that if we were playing Everton away after that Man United game, I'm thinking, fuck me, we ain't got no hope here because no one seems to want it. That Palace game showed me players do still want it. And then the minute we get to that point, we go back to how City at times where we must win games, get it done. And I think that could be it.
Yeah.
Rodri comes back in, hand the rod, 2.0. I'll take it all day long.
Just give us a 1-0, yeah.
Yeah, 1-0. I don't know. It's a tough game, though. And the fact is, Everton's last game, they went away from home and beat Villa. So
it does give me a bit more confidence, obviously, against the Palace game, that we were able to kind of create so many chances. Again, I feel like we realistically need 1 or 2 chances, put Everton away. I don't know if they've really got enough to hurt us the other way.
No, that's what I was thinking, yeah.
But defensively, very solid.
The only thing is, though, because I did watch the match against Forest after our Palace match last week, was they definitely looked comfortable without the ball. They were quite happy to absorb any sort of pressure. Now, given that probably would have actually worked in their favour anyway, because they're playing a team that isn't necessarily possession-based in Forest. So when they had the ball, they probably didn't really know what to do with it most of the time. And also, too, I think their form is finally starting to drop off, just, been playing such a high level for all the season as well, too. But I think Moyes has got this team playing comfortable football, knowing full well that there's every opportunity they're not going to have a lot of possession in this match. So I would not be surprised if they will just look to, exploit us in the same way that many clubs have done this season. So We just need to be just really, really disciplined when we play them. But, we've done that in recent years. That's why our record there over the last, say, 5, 6, 7 years has actually been very, very good compared to what it was for 10, 20 years prior. So I think we just need to be disciplined. If we're disciplined, which is something that has been lacking a lot this season, and I think we're going to go a long way to getting results at Goodison.
Yeah. Are we going to dare? Sorry, Dax. Are we going to dare predict the starting lineup again? I don't think any of us got it right last week.
Well, we had a few texts between us two before the game starts, didn't we, Nick?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I want to see. I'll be honest now, because going into the Palace game, I left De Bruyne out of my preferred starting 11. I now want to see De Bruyne. De Bruyne has to be there now. I wouldn't go with a dissimilar team to the team that played against Palace. The team that played against Palace, to be honest with you. If I want to run my agenda, I still want to see Grealish in the squad in an 8 role, but it's not going to happen. So
if it hasn't happened now, it won't happen at all.
No, and will Pep use wingers? Probably not. So we will see. We will see. I've seen Akanji and Foden back in training. Would it be fair to say that the only way that Akanji should be getting a look in at this point would be as on the right?
Yep.
Well, yeah, he'll be on the bench though, won't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mean this game. I'm 100%. He's only just back in training. But the only way he should get a look in is on the right. And I don't know if I'd still rather see Kuzanov on the right, but Pep don't seem too keen on that. As for Foden, again, I'm going to stick with what I said. I think the best thing for Foden right now is to come on off the bench for the rest of the season, because I think starting him in games and then having to drag him in the 60th minute is not helping his confidence. Whereas if you bring on a player in the 60th, 70th minute, he gets to leave the pitch with the rest of the players, and there's that element of confidence on him. So, yeah.
I also think with Foden especially realistically, ideal situation, we go 3-0 up kind of thing. Foden can come on and just almost play with a bit more freedom as well. Yeah. I think that's something he's struggling with at the moment. You can tell he's got no confidence to do anything. The whole team looks shot at the moment as well with confidence. But yeah, try and get him on with a goal or two up kind of thing, and kind of just a bit more freedom.
Yeah. Do you think McAtee starts again?
No.
I'd prefer to see one of the other wingers start. Would you? We didn't. I mentioned this previously, Daps. We didn't get the seat against Palace, but do you think it might be a chance for a Rico and Bob link up on the right?
I was just thinking, if not, right. So
it's something. I think it's something he prefers on smaller grounds. So Goodison does classify as a smaller ground,
very similar to Palace's ground, where we saw the best of them.
Do you guys think McAtee starts?
Well, I'm just thinking. So Bob came on against Palace. That was his first. No. Was that his first game back, or did he come on against?
Played a couple of minutes the previous game. I think only like 2 or so minutes though.
Yeah, so I still don't think I'd see Bob starting. I wouldn't mind seeing Bob off the bench though, and for maybe 40 minutes. And I do hear what you're saying, Pat. Yeah, that would be an interesting one. Food for thought. It's. I guess it's the only thing is the length of the injury he had. I think he probably needs a few more times off the bench. But I don't know. I feel like if he doesn't start McAtee, what are we thinking? He'd start Savion.
Yep.
I think we might see McAtee start again.
The problem with McAtee, I still don't. It's just every time I watch him, I'm kind of waiting for him to just grab the game by the scruff of the neck and take his chance. I know he scored that goal and it was a very good goal, but other than that, he really didn't do too much. He had a couple of chances.
You're not a McAtee fan, though, are you?
To be honest, I was actually a big McAtee fan, and I was kind of keen to see him integrate with the squad.
We all went crazy when he was tearing up the Premier League too.
Yep.
A couple of seasons out, he was unbelievable. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But again, Alan, I've said it all year. He just, anytime he's had his chance, he hasn't taken it. Whereas the other kids kind of have.
Do you know what? It's interesting because, Ian, I see what you're saying. McAtee scores an assist, but one of the non-productive. You know what? The struggle here is I'm trying to think from what Pep's going to do, not from what I'm going to do. I'm with Nick that I was a big McAtee fan. I still want to keep McAtee, but I'm happy to see him go if it means we're getting Verts, right? And knowing that if we don't give them what they want, we probably won't get Verts. This is the key. They want McAtee, right? If they want McAtee and we want a player that I think we can all agree is better than McAtee, good point. McAtee deserves to start more than Foden. I would agree on that. Yeah. It did frustrate me in the first half that McAtee didn't take a couple of chances he had. However, he did in the second half. Now, if we don't reward him with another start, does his confidence then drop again, right?
I will say this, Daps. He was getting in the right positions to have that opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, if he wasn't getting in a position to do that, then we have a problem.
Well, and the other thing is, look, McAtee was part of a team that won 5-2, right?
Yep.
We haven't seen City score 5 goals. Have we seen it? Have we beat anyone? Have we scored 5 against anyone else today? This season?
It's been ages since we've done it.
How many
we beat Salford. We beat Salford by a fair few, but ultimately, Savio was part of a front unit that scored 5 goals, right? So maybe, for me, I would. The more I think about it, I probably would start McAtee. I think I would.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think Pep must be so torn between obviously prioritizing the team that he's going to want for next season, and then also getting games into players like McAtee that are potentially not going to be here anyway as well. I think
we need the Champions League, mate.
Yeah, obviously.
That is the priority. That is the priority, obviously. Mate. I'll say that now.
I don't know. I mean, Manchester, I see what you're saying. If they want 150, give them 150 and keep McAtee. I'm not against that at all, by the way. But
there we go. We beat Ipswich 5-0.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, none of us are in the None of us are around the negotiation table. If there is the option of 150 and keep McAtee, maybe I'd go for that, right? But if they are saying no, we want McAtee at all costs, I think we have to let him go. And the other thing that's very important to this is the player, right? And from what I'm hearing, McAtee wants to go, right? And once a player wants to go, the only way we could change McAtee's mind is guaranteeing him first team football. City aren't going to guarantee him first team football. So anyway, for me, I'm going to say my prediction. I hate to say it, but I think it's going to be a draw. Alan?
I think it'll be a draw, but my big fear is Villa, because I personally think Villa are a better team.
Yeah, I hear you. I think I have a feeling I'm pretty confident we beat Villa.
What about you?
I hope you're right, because I hope you're right. I
think playing Villa at home helps. If it was away, it'd be much different. We'd be in a much different mindset about that. Yeah. I think Everton will be tough. I think we'll just have enough to overpower them. I think it'll be 2-1.
You've got to be able to battle against Everton.
Yeah.
And if the players are up for a battle, they'll do it.
Yeah. Nick?
I'm
going to go 1-0. 1-0 City.
1-0 City.
Yep.
And someone asked, does Nico Gonzalez start? If I don't see if Nico Gonzalez is not on that team sheet, I'm going to be livid. Especially when you just said
I agree 100%. He has to play. Yeah. I'll take it to this point. If he's not in a team from the start, I'm walking out that pub.
Oh, well, Pat, are you confirming that you're coming now?
Well, if Nico doesn't start, yeah.
Yeah, I think he must. I really do think he's doing little things that are really helping us. I think his physicality, his height is helping us a lot. He's winning second balls. He's recycling the ball that little bit quicker than other players do as well. managing to move the ball about. So, yeah, man.
Are you going to the game? Are you going to the game?
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, getting a ticket for Goodison is not easy, mate.
No.
Yeah.
I went there in 2019, and I'm just at least I can say I've been there. So yeah.
Right. Anyway, appreciate you all coming on. Let me just check if I have redirected this beautiful stream. Guys, what have you got coming up? By the way, so there's a new member to the Mancunian Way, I believe.
Yes, Tones joined us. So he's going to be coming in now, just sharing a bit of the workload with Martin, and just adding a few more faces and just something a little bit different for a change. Yeah. What else we got? Wednesday, I think Nick and I are debuting our first segment on Mancunian Way, Blues Down Under. So you'll get a few of us from this part of the world doing our own show there. So looking forward to just giving everybody a bit more of an Australian perspective, a perspective of how things are down under, and obviously just talking about anything from this weekend's results to anything else that comes up in the news over the first half of next week. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Yeah, Blues Down Under, Mancunian Way.
Yeah, and if you want to come and see the game tomorrow night, midnight kickoff in the Imperial, the Melbourne Blues will be there. So please come in. You don't have to be a member to come in and watch the game, but midnight at the Imperial at the top of Burke Street in Melbourne city centre.
And just for myself, by the way. So what you're telling me is that there's a gentleman below me that can get flights for cheap.
Yeah.
And there's a guy opposite me that's got a lovely house, and he can get me into the Imperial whenever I want.
Yeah.
Guys, make it happen. Whenever you're ready, get me to Australia.
Let me put it to you this way.
This means 4. All right, I take it he's not getting me no cheap flights then. All right, well,
it's
fine.
been good knowing you.
I don't want to come. I don't want to come to your country where I have to watch my back in case a flight.
By the way, just an FYI, hopefully we can win a Champions League between now and 2029, because apparently Australia New Zealand's put in a bid for the 2029 Club World Cup.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Well, you can get us all cheap flights over there for that.
There we go. Yeah. Right, I'll go look for 2 airlines. Yeah, no worries.
Right. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go. People, all of my lovely Manchester City fans, I am now going over on the other channel, Never a Foul, where I get to catch up with Mr. D, who is a Crystal Palace fan, who I'm going to have a lot of fun talking to. There's going to be a few other fans from rivals there. I need as many of you City fans to subscribe to Never a Foul, to watch Never a Foul, and have my back that little bit more, because the comments is full of overconfident Arsenal fans who ultimately think Real Madrid was a trophy. Liverpool fans who are happy winning the trophy, knowing they're never going to retain it because that's not something they do. And rags that forget their league position. On that note, we are out. Please go over there, subscribe, and like the video.